The engine room was quiet. Only the low hum of the machines filled the air. The human engineer, Mark, liked it this way. He worked long hours deep inside the ship, far from the noise of the crew. To him, the engine was like a heartbeat, steady, alive, always moving. Mark checked the glowing panels and touched the metal pipes. Everything was normal. The engines had no problem, and his shift was halfway done. He stretched, wiped his hands, and thought he would enjoy a few calm hours, but calm never lasts long in space. The heavy door to the engine room slid open. The sound broke the silence. Mark turned, expecting maybe a fellow engineer or the captain. Instead, he froze. His eyes went wide. Standing in the doorway was the alien maid. She worked on the ship, but never in the engine section. She cleaned rooms, carried supplies, and walked silently in the halls. She was tall, her skin a pale silver color. Her long dark hair framed her strange but beautiful face. She looked shy, always keeping her eyes down when humans passed. But now she was different. She was wearing only an apron, the thin fabric covered little. It was tied around her waist, her shoulders bare. She stepped inside the engine room slowly, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Mark's voice cracked. "What are you doing here?" The maid did not answer right away. She closed the door behind her. The sound echoed like a lock sealing them in. Then she walked closer. Her bare feet made soft taps against the metal floor. "I need your help," she said in broken human language. Her voice carried a mix of fear and urgency. Mark's heart raced. He tried to look away, but he could not ignore her strange appearance. She never came here, never spoke more than a few words. And now she stood in front of him, almost trembling. "My help," he repeated. "With what?" Her eyes shifted to the engine core. The massive reactor glowed with steady light. She looked nervous, glancing over her shoulder as if someone could be watching. "Yes," she said. "Danger in engine. Need you," Mark frowned. He looked at the panels. Everything looked normal. Nothing was wrong. "The engine is fine," he said. "I just checked it." She shook her head quickly. "Not fine hidden, not human problem. Alien problem." Mark's chest tightened. He stepped back, his mind filled with questions. Why was she talking about alien problems? Why come to him dressed like this? Was she trying to distract him? Or warn him? The maid stepped closer. Her voice lowered to a whisper. "If Captain No, we die." Mark froze. The air around them felt heavier. The hum of the engine now sounded, louder, darker. Her words twisted in his mind. What was she hiding from the captain? Why would both of them die if the truth came out? "Explain," Mark demanded, his voice sharp. She bit her lip, her silver skin catching the glow of the reactor. "Cannot hear. Too many ears." Mark's eyes darted to the walls. He knew the ship had sensors, cameras, monitors. But he also knew the engine room was not fully watched. Too much radiation, too much interference. Still, her fear seemed real. "What do you want me to do?" he asked carefully. She reached out and touched his hand. Her fingers were cold, almost metallic. The contact sent a shiver up his arm. "Follow me," she whispered. "Deep engine." Mark hesitated. He should call the captain. He should report her. But something in her eyes held him. A strange mix of fear and trust. She had chosen him, not anyone else. The reactor hummed louder. Mark felt his heartbeat match its rhythm. He glanced once more at her apron, at the trembling of her hands. She was not here for cleaning, he knew that much. "I don't understand," he said. "Why me?" Her lips curved slightly, a sad smile. "Because human heart strong," she said softly, and engine listened to heart. Mark's mind spun. Her words made no sense, and yet they carried a weight he could not ignore. The engine lights flickered. For just a second, a tiny pulse of warning. He had never seen that happen before. The maid stepped back, her eyes never leaving his. "Come," she said. Her voice was not a request. It was a command. Mark looked at the glowing core, at her pale figure framed against its light. A sense of dread filled him. His calm shift was over. Something bigger had just begun. He took a slow breath and nodded. "All right," he whispered. "Show me." As he followed her deeper into the engine room, the shadows seemed to grow darker. The hum of the machine no longer felt steady. It felt alive, watching, waiting. Mark realized one chilling truth. She was not here for cleaning at all. The air in the engine room felt colder as Mark followed the alien Maid. Her footsteps were light, almost soundless, as if she floated more than walked. The glow of the reactor painted her silver skin with shifting colors, blue then green then red. Mark's heart beat hard in his chest. He had spent years keeping the engine stable. He knew every pipe, every wire, every hum. But now the ship felt different, as if someone had placed a hidden hand inside the machine, turning gears that were not meant to move. The Maid stopped near the lower hatch. It was a small passage leading deeper into the maintenance shafts, a place rarely visited. Only senior engineers ever entered there, and only during big repairs. She looked back at him with glowing eyes. "Here," she whispered. "Must see." Mark swallowed hard. "This area is off limits," he said. "Even I need Captain's order to go in." She pressed her finger to her lips. "No, Captain," she whispered. "No crew. Only you." Her words made his skin crawl. He was trained to follow rules, to trust the chain of command. But something about the way she trembled, the way her eyes darted to the shadows, told him she was hiding from more than the captain. Mark crouched to open the hatch. The metal groaned as it slid aside. A warm breeze rushed out, smelling faintly of burned metal and something else, something sharp like ozone mixed with ashes. The Maid went first, crawling gracefully through the narrow tunnel. The dim lights flickered above them, casting long shadows that seemed alive. Mark followed, each movement echoing in the silence. "Why me?" he asked again, his voice low. "Why not another engineer?" Her reply came softly, almost like a secret. "Because engine choose you." Mark frowned. "Engines don't choose," he muttered. "They brake, they run. They don't think." "But," the Maid shook her head. "This engine not human, this ship hold alien core." Mark froze. The tunnel suddenly felt smaller. He had heard rumors before, whispers among crew that the ship's technology was too advanced, too strange. Some said the reactor was built on salvaged alien design, but nobody ever confirmed it. Now, the Maid's words cut through his doubts like a blade. They reached the chamber, a round space hidden below the reactor. The walls were covered with strange, glowing markings like veins of light running across the metal. The symbols pulsed faintly, beating like a second heart. Mark's breath caught. What is this?" The Maid stepped into the center, her apron swaying as she moved. "Old power," she said. "My people know this. My duty keep it silent. But now, awake." Mark touched the wall. The metal was warm, almost alive. His fingers tingled as if tiny sparks crawled under his skin. He pulled back quickly, heart pounding. "This is dangerous," he whispered. "If the captain knew..." She turned sharply, her eyes flashing. "If Captain know, he use it, ship burn, crew die." Mark stared at her. His throat felt dry. "And what do you want me to do?" She stepped closer. Her voice lowered. "Need human hand, alien system. No open without human blood, it listen only to you." Mark felt his knees weaken. "Wait, you're saying this thing needs me? My blood?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, human heart key. Engine obey heart." Mark's mind raced. He wanted to laugh at the absurdity, but the heat in the room, the pulsing glow, the way the lights seemed to breathe, all of it screamed truth. The Maid placed her hand on his chest right above his pounding heart. "Strong heart, strong will, that why engine call you." Mark stepped back, shaking his head. "No, this is insane. I should call the captain right now, I should..." The chamber shook suddenly, a loud hum filled the air. The glowing veins across the walls brightened, and a deep thrum rolled through the floor. The ship itself groaned like a beast in pain. Mark stumbled, grabbing a pipe for balance. His ears rang with the sound. "What the hell is happening?" The Maid shouted over the noise. "It wake! It..." "I know danger. If not stop, ship die in fire." Mark looked at the glowing symbols. They pulsed faster like a heartbeat gone wild. The air burned hot. Sweat dripped down his face. He realized the maid was right. Something was waking. Something, old something alive, tell me what to do, he yelled. Her glowing eyes met his, filled with both fear and hope. Follow me deeper, trust me, or all lost. Mark's throat tightened. He knew he had no choice. The captain was not here. No backup, no plan. Only him and the strange maid. With secrets, he nodded slowly, breathing hard. Fine. Show me. Her lips curved into a faint smile. Half relief, half sorrow. She turned and moved toward a darker tunnel that led even deeper below. Mark followed, his chest heavy with dread, his mind full of questions. But one thought echoed louder than the rest. The maid was not here to clean the ship. She was here to guard its secret. And now that secret had chosen him. The tunnel grew darker as Mark followed the alien maid deeper into the hidden chamber. The lights from the reactor above faded, replaced by the strange glow of alien markings along the walls. They pulsed slowly, like the beat of a giant heart. Buried inside the ship, Mark's breathing was heavy. His hands brushed against the cold metal, but the metal did not feel natural. It felt warm, almost alive. Sometimes it even vibrated under his fingers, as if something beneath the surface was moving. The maid stopped, lifting her hand. Quiet, she whispered. Her voice echoed against the tunnel, soft but sharp. Mark froze, his ears strained. For a moment he heard nothing but the hum of the ship. Then a faint sound reached him, like a whisper carried through pipes. It was not human speech. It was something else, a language made of sharp tones and deep echoes. What is that? Mark whispered back. She looked at him with glowing eyes. Engine speaks, Mark shivered. The sound seemed to press into his skull. The whispers rose and fell, sometimes like a chant, sometimes like a scream. He pressed his palms to his ears, but the sound was not outside. It was inside, crawling into his mind. Stop it, he muttered. Make it stop. The maid stepped closer, touching his arm. Her touch was cold, but grounding. It tests you, she said. It want to know your heart. Mark's eyes narrowed. Why me? Why not you? She looked away, her voice heavy with shame. I not pure, I half-blood engine, no listen to me. Only full human can open. Mark stared at her. His thoughts twisted in confusion. Half-blood? What do you mean? Her lips trembled. I am not full alien, my mother human, father alien. I live between two worlds. That why I hide as Maid. No one trust half-blood. Mark's chest tightened. The truth hit him harder than the whispers. She had been living on the ship as nothing more than a servant, when in reality she carried knowledge no one else had. Knowledge that could change everything. You mean all this time, you were pretending? He asked. She nodded slowly. Pretend keep me safe. Pretend keep ship safe too. The whispers grew louder, filling the tunnel. The alien markings flared with light, pulsing faster. The air grew hot. Mark could taste metal on his tongue like blood and fire mixed. The maid grabbed his wrist, pulling him toward a round door at the end of the tunnel. The door was covered in symbols that glowed like burning stars. Here, she said. Inside, danger waits. Mark's stomach twisted. Danger? She nodded, her eyes hard. Yes, core not stable. If awake fully, destroy ship, destroy crew. Mark swallowed hard. He looked at the door, at the way the symbols seemed to breathe like living things. And you want me to go in there? Yes, she said without hesitation. You must face it. Only you can calm it. Mark shook his head. This is madness. I'm an engineer, not a hero. Not whatever this thing wants. The maid stepped closer. Her silver skin glowed faintly. Under the alien light, engine knows you, it calls to you. If you refuse, ship ends. The chamber shook violently. A deep roar thundered through the walls. The glowing veins spread wider. Branching across the ceiling like lightning, Mark staggered, his heart racing. All right, he said through clenched teeth. I'll do it, but you better explain how. The maid's face softened. I guide you, but danger great. Engine will test you, it show fear, pain, memories you must not break. Mark's throat felt dry. And if I fail? She looked at him without blinking. Then we all die. Silence followed, heavy and crushing. The alien door pulsed once, then slid open slowly with a hiss. The inside glowed with a light so bright it hurt to look. Mark raised his hand to shield his eyes. Heat poured out, thick and choking. He stepped forward, each breath heavier than the last. The maid followed, her footsteps soft but steady. Inside the chamber, the air buzzed like electricity. The walls curved high above them, filled with flowing alien symbols. At the center stood a massive crystal, jagged and sharp, glowing with red and blue light. Mark stared in awe. What is that? The true core, the maid whispered. Not machine, not fuel, it is alive. The crystal pulsed, and suddenly the whispers turned into voices. Mark gasped. His own memories flashed before him. His childhood, his first day on the ship, the faces of friends he had lost. The voices twisted them, turning joy into sorrow, love into fear. He stumbled, gripping his head. It's inside me. He groaned. The maid held his shoulders, her voice fierce. Stay strong. Do not listen. It wants to break you. Show it your strength. Show it your human heart. Mark closed his eyes, his pulse thundered in his chest. He forced himself to breathe, to remember who he was. He was not just a worker, not just an engineer. He was human, and he would not bend to whispers. The crystal flashed brighter, the voices screamed louder. Mark opened his eyes and shouted back, I am not afraid. The chamber shook. The light dimmed for a moment, the whispers faded, the maid's eyes widened in shock. You passed the first test. Mark fell to his knees, sweat pouring down his face. His chest burned, his head pounded, but he was alive. The whispers were gone, replaced by silence. The crystal glowed softer, as if watching him, waiting. Mark looked up slowly, his voice trembling. If that was the first test, what comes next? The maid lowered her eyes. Her voice was almost a whisper. The true danger is still sleeping. The chamber was quiet after the first test. The glowing crystal pulsed slowly, as if watching, waiting. Mark knelt on the floor, his chest rising and falling fast, sweat dripping down his face. His head still rang with the memory of the whispers, but his mind was clearer now. The alien maid stood close, her silver skin glowing faintly in the red-blue light. Her eyes were wide, filled with both fear and wonder. You lived, she whispered. The engine accept. You. Mark pushed himself up slowly, his legs shaking. That was no engine test, he muttered. It was inside my head. It showed me things I didn't want to see. She nodded slowly. Yes, core shows truth. Truth is weapon. Truth can kill weak hearts. Mark shook his head, trying to steady himself. You knew this all along, didn't you? Her lips trembled. She lowered her eyes. Yes, my duty keeps secret, my duty guard core. Mark stared at her, the anger in his chest mixing with confusion. You're no maid, he said, his voice sharp. Who are you, really? The maid lifted her head. Her face was calm now, though her eyes glistened with something like sorrow. I am not servant. I am keeper, she said. My people call us watchers. We guard alien power hidden in human ships. I was sent to live as maid, so no one ask questions, no one suspect. Mark felt his stomach twist. The truth made sense, and yet it felt unreal. You've been hiding under our noses the whole time, he said, pretending to clean rooms while you watched us, while you watched me. She stepped closer, her voice soft. Not pretend to harm, pretend to protect. If human captain know truth, he use power. He not ready, none of crew ready, only you. Mark's throat tightened. Why me? Why not another? There are smarter people on this ship, stronger people. Her gaze locked with his, unblinking. Because you listen to machines. You listen to silence. Engine feels you. Engine trusts you. That is rare. That is human. Mark staggered back, the weight of her words pressing into him. He wanted to deny it, wanted to push her away, but deep inside he knew she was right. He had always felt something in the hum of the engine, a rhythm no one else seemed to notice. The chamber shook lightly. The crystal pulsed faster, reminding them both that time was short. Mark clenched his fists. "Tell me everything," he demanded. "No more half-truths. If I'm risking my life for this, I need to know what I'm facing." The maid took a deep breath. Her voice turned heavy. "This core is not fuel, it is weapon long ago. Aliens build it for war. A living machine. It choose its master by testing heart. If master strong, it obey. If weak, it consume." Mark's chest tightened. His eyes darted to the glowing crystal. "Consume? You mean it kills?" "Yes," she whispered. "It eats life, it drinks spirit. That is why my people fear it, that is why I hide it, but now it wakes." Mark rubbed his face, his mind racing. "So this ship has been carrying a living alien weapon the whole time and nobody knew." She nodded. "Yes, Captain, think it is human engine. But truth is buried, only Watcher know, only I." Mark paced in a circle, his boots echoing in the chamber. "So what now? You expect me to... what? Become its master?" Her eyes glowed brighter. "Yes, you must bond with it or ship die." Mark's hands shook. "Bond? That's insane. I didn't sign up to be some alien weapon's chosen hero. I just fix engines." The maid stepped closer, her voice urgent. "You think small, you fix metal, you fix wires, but now you must fix life. If you do not, the core rise and burn all." Mark swallowed hard, his anger cracked under the weight of her words. "And if I refuse?" She looked away, her voice low. "Then the core find another. But it may not choose human, it may choose hunger. If that happen, no one live." The chamber groaned. A new sound filled the air, deep and low, like breathing. The crystal glowed brighter, its jagged edges flashing. Mark stared at it, sweat dripping from his brow. "It's alive," he whispered. "It's actually alive." The maid nodded. "Yes, and it is watching you." Mark's pulse thundered. He felt the crystal's gaze, pressing into him like invisible eyes. He wanted to run, to escape, but his legs refused to move. Something deep inside whispered that running would only make things worse. The maid stepped closer, her hand brushing his arm gently. "You have choice, Mark, bond with it and save ship or walk away and doom us all?" Mark's voice cracked. "And what about you? What happens to you if I take this thing?" Her lips curved in a sad smile. "My duty end, my life end too. Watchers live only as long as core stays hidden. If core awakens, my purpose is done." Mark's chest ached. He stared at her, at the sorrow in her eyes. She had carried this secret her whole life, hidden behind the mask of a servant, waiting for this moment. The crystal pulsed again, louder now. The chamber trembled as cracks of light spread across the floor. Mark clenched his fists. His choice felt heavier than the ship itself. "All right," he whispered. "I'll do it." The maid's eyes widened with both relief and grief. "Then, be ready," she whispered, "because the true trial begins now." The crystal flared with blinding light. The hum turned into a roar. The chamber shook violently. And Mark realized with a sinking heart, everything until now had only been the beginning. The chamber shook as the crystal flared with burning light. The walls around Mark glowed with alien symbols that pulsed like veins filled with fire. The air grew heavy, pressing against his chest. His lungs struggled with each breath. The alien, Maid, stood beside him, her silver skin shining in the glow. Her voice was low, almost trembling. "The core awakens. It waits for your decision." Mark's heart pounded. He wiped sweat from his forehead. His hands shook as he stared at the living crystal. It pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, as if it had already linked to him. "This is insane," Mark whispered. "I can't control this thing, I'm just one man." The maid stepped closer, her glowing eyes fixed on him. "Not just man, human heart strong, stronger than alien war. That is why it chose you." Mark shook his head. "What if I fail? What if I touch it and it consumes me?" She lowered her gaze. "Then ship burn, crew die. But if you succeed, you save all. That is the path." The chamber rumbled again. The glowing veins stretched across the ceiling like cracks in glass. A sharp sound echoed through the air, a deep metallic howl that seemed to come from the crystal itself. Mark felt his knees weaken. He wanted to run, to escape, but the door behind him had already sealed. There was no way out. Only forward. He turned toward the maid, anger flashing in his eyes. You knew this would happen, didn't you? You brought me here because you had no other choice. Her lips trembled. She nodded slowly. Yes, I hide truth too long, now truth demands you. Mark clenched his fists. So my choice is between becoming this thing's puppet or letting everyone die. Her voice softened. Not puppet, partner. If you stand strong, you command it. If you break, it commands you. Mark's chest tightened. The words cut deep. He thought of the crew above, laughing in the mess hall, sleeping in their bunks, completely unaware that death was breathing just below their feet. His mind flashed with images of Earth, of the oceans, the cities, the families waiting for ships to return. If this alien weapon was not controlled, it could one day destroy more than just one ship. It could burn worlds. He closed his eyes, forcing himself to breathe. I don't want this, he muttered. But I can't let them die. The maid touched his arm gently. Her voice carried sorrow. That is why you are chosen. Because you do not want power. You only want life. Mark looked at her, his voice hard. And what about you? What happens if I bond with it? Her eyes darkened. My duty ends, my life ends, that is the law of Watchers. Mark felt his chest ache. You're saying you'll die? She gave a faint smile. Yes, but I was born for this, to protect, to guide the one who comes. My story ends so yours can continue. Mark's throat tightened. He wanted to protest, to argue, but the chamber roared again. The crystal pulsed violently, sending waves of heat that scorched the air. The ship groaned. Above them, alarms faintly echoing from distant halls. There was no more time. Mark stepped forward. His boots scraped against the glowing floor. His hands trembled as he reached toward the crystal. The closer he came, the louder the voices grew in his head. They were not whispers this time. They were screams. He heard his own voice from the past shouting in anger. He saw the faces of people he had failed. Every regret, every mistake, every pain he had ever carried burst inside his skull. He staggered, clutching his head. It's too much, he gasped. I can't. The maid's voice cut through the storm like steel. Stand tall, Mark. Show it who you are, not machine. Not weapon, human. Mark forced his eyes open. His vision blurred, but he stared at the blazing crystal. His chest heaved, his fists clenched. I am not afraid. He roared. The voices crashed like a wave, then shattered into silence. The crystal pulsed once, then twice. Its color shifted from violent red to a deep, steady blue. The air cooled. The chamber grew calm. Mark dropped to his knees, gasping for breath. His body shook, his skin burned with sweat. But he was alive. The maid knelt beside him, her eyes wide with awe. You did it, she whispered. It accepted you. Mark looked up, his voice weak. It feels like it's inside me now, like a second heartbeat. She nodded, tears glimmering in her eyes. Yes, bond is complete. You are master now. Mark tried to smile, but his chest felt heavy. And you? What happens now? The maid lowered. Her head. My time ends. My life fades when Core awakens fully. That is the law. Mark grabbed her shoulders, his voice breaking. No, there has to be another way. You can't just vanish, not after everything. Her lips curved into a sad smile. Your kindness proves why you were chosen, but fate is written. Do not waste sorrow on me. The chamber shook gently, not with danger this time, but with a rhythm like breathing. The crystal pulsed in harmony with Mark's heartbeat. A bond had been sealed, but as Mark held the maid's trembling hands, he realized the cruel truth. His victory came with a cost he was not ready to pay. The choice was made, the ship was saved, but the price was about to be collected. The chamber was quiet, but the silence felt heavy. Mark's heartbeat echoed inside his chest, and the crystal answered with its own deep pulse. Two rhythms joining as one, the glow of the alien core spread through the walls, soft and steady now, no longer wild and violent. Mark sat on the floor, exhausted. His body felt weak, but his mind was clear. The bond had been made. He was alive. The ship was safe. But his victory was shadowed by the maid's words. Her duty was ending, her life fading. She stood nearby, her silver skin shimmering faintly. Her glowing eyes were softer now, almost gentle. She watched him with something close to pride. "You are chosen," she whispered. "You carry the bond. Now ship is yours to protect." Mark shook his head, forcing himself to stand. "No, don't talk like that. We made it through, you don't have to die." She smiled faintly, but her voice was calm. "That is the law of Watchers. When the core finds a master, the Watcher's duty ends. Without duty, I fade." Mark's fists clenched, his throat tightened. "You're not some tool to be thrown away. You're alive, you're real, you matter." Her lips curved into a sad smile. "Kind words, but fate cannot be undone." The crystal pulsed, sending a wave of light through the chamber. The glow touched her body, and Mark saw her form flicker. Like a candle in strong wind, his chest ached. "No, this isn't right." She reached out, her cold fingers brushing his face. "Do not fear for me. My life was meant to serve this moment. I was born to guide, and now I have." Mark grabbed her hand tightly, his voice shaking. "No, I won't let this happen. There has to be another way. The core listens to me now, right? Then maybe it can listen to this. Don't take her." The chamber trembled. The crystal's light shifted, red sparks flashing across its surface. A deep hum filled the air. The maid's eyes widened. "Stop, Mark. Do not command with anger. The core listens, but it is alive. It may twist your wish into curse." Mark froze, his heart pounding. He let out a shaky breath. "Then what am I supposed to do? Just stand here and watch you fade away?" She stepped closer, her voice soft but firm. "Yes, you must accept sacrifice. Every power demands a price. This is mine." Mark's chest tightened. His mind screamed at the unfairness. He thought of her quiet steps in the hallways, her shy eyes when she served the crew, the way she had hidden her truth for so long. She had carried a burden no one else could, and now she was paying the final cost. The crystal pulsed again, brighter. Her form flickered more, parts of her fading into light. "No," Mark whispered. "Not like this." He fell to his knees before the core, pressing his hands against its hot surface. His voice roared through the chamber. "If you chose me, then hear me. If I am your master, then obey me. Do not take her life." The chamber erupted in light. The crystal roared with energy. The alien symbols on the walls burned bright. For a moment, Mark felt the entire ship trembling under his command. The maid gasped, clutching her chest. You fight fate." Mark gritted his teeth, his arms shaking against the burning crystal. "Then let fate break. I won't accept her death as the price." The core's voice filled his mind, deeper than thunder, older than time. "Life must feed life, balance must remain," Mark shouted back inside his own thoughts. "Then take me, not her." The crystal pulsed violently. The air grew scorching hot. The chamber screamed with energy. The maid rushed forward, pulling him back. Her eyes burned with both fear and sorrow. "No, fool. You cannot give yourself. If you fall, bond breaks, ship dies." Mark stared at her, his chest heaving. "Then what choice do I have?" She cupped his face in her trembling hands. Her voice broke for the first time. "The choice is not yours. It is mine." Before he could react, she turned to the core, stepping into its glow. Her silver skin blazed with light. Her body shivered as the energy wrapped around her. "Stop!" Mark cried, reaching for her, but the heat drove him back. The light was too strong. Her voice carried over the roar, calm and steady. "I was born half human, half alien, never belonging to either. But in this moment, I belong here. My sacrifice keeps you alive, keeps them alive. That is enough." Her form shimmered, breaking into shards of light. Each shard drifted upward, merging with the crystal. The chamber grew brighter and brighter until Mark could not see her anymore, then silence. The glow faded to a calm blue. The crystal pulsed gently, no longer wild, no longer unstable. The chamber was steady again. Mark dropped to his knees, his heart shattered. His hands trembled as he stared at the empty space where she had stood. Only her apron lay on the floor, untouched, the last trace of her existence. He picked it up slowly. Clutching it to his chest, his throat burned as he whispered, "You didn't have to do this." The crystal pulsed softly, almost like a sigh. Mark closed his eyes. His victory tasted bitter. The ship was safe. The crew lived. But she was gone. He had gained control of a power greater than anything he could imagine, but he had lost the one person who truly understood it. The chamber's silence felt heavier than any roar. Mark whispered into the stillness, "If this is the price of being chosen, then I will carry it. But I swear I won't let your sacrifice be wasted." The crystal glowed faintly in answer, like a heartbeat in the dark. The engine chamber was quiet, too quiet. Mark knelt on the floor, the maid's apron clutched tightly in his hands. His chest felt hollow. His heartbeat echoed against the silence, but there was no other sound, no other life. The crystal pulsed softly, calm now. It was stable, its energy no longer wild. The ship above was safe, the crew alive. But to Mark, victory felt like loss. He whispered into the empty air, "You didn't have to do this. You shouldn't have gone alone." His voice cracked, and the words broke inside his throat. He pressed his forehead against the apron, his body trembling. He had bonded with the core. He had passed its test. But the price still burned. She was gone. The silence pressed on him like a weight. But then, a sound. Mark lifted his head, his ears strained. At first it was faint, like the soft hum of wires, but slowly it grew clearer. It was not the ship, not the core. It was a voice, a whisper inside his mind. Mark, his breath caught. His eyes darted to the crystal. The glowing veins along its surface pulsed faintly, and he heard it again, clearer this time. "Mark, can you hear me?" His throat went dry. "No," he whispered. "It can't be. You're gone. You sacrificed yourself." But the voice was hers, soft and steady. The same voice that had guided him, warned him, comforted him. "Not gone," the voice said. "Changed." Mark stumbled to his feet, his hands shaking. "Where are you? How are you speaking to me?" The crystal glowed, pulsing brighter, and her voice filled his thoughts again. "My body ended, but not my soul. The core took me. It bound me to its heart. I live within it now." Mark's eyes widened. His breath came in quick bursts. You're inside the crystal?" "Yes," she whispered. "I am no longer flesh, no longer Maid. I am part of the engine now, part of you." Mark staggered back. His mind spun. A mix of relief and terror flooded him. He had not lost her completely, but what she had become was beyond human, beyond alien. "Why?" he whispered. "Why did it take you?" Her voice softened, carrying a trace of sorrow. "Because balance must remain. It demanded life, and I gave it mine. But your will, your refusal to let me vanish, pulled me inside instead of destroying me. You did this, Mark. You saved me in a way even I did not expect." Mark pressed a hand against the crystal. Its surface burned hot, but the heat no longer hurt. It felt alive, like a heartbeat under his palm. Her voice grew stronger. "Now we are bound, you and I, human and watcher. Together we carry the core. Together we carry its power." Mark's chest tightened, his emotions twisted. Relief that she still existed, grief that she was trapped, fear of what this bond truly meant. "So you're not gone. But you're not free either." The crystal pulsed once. "I am not free, but I am not lost, and neither are you. This bond is our destiny." Mark's thoughts spun. He imagined walking the halls of the ship, the crew smiling at him, laughing, unaware that inside the heart of the engine a living mind was watching, whispering, guiding, a secret no one could ever know. His hands curled into fists. I won't let this ship turn into a weapon. I won't let anyone use you or the core. Not the captain, not anyone. This power stays with me. The maid's voice was calm, but there was something hidden behind. It's a yes, but power always draws eyes. The core's signal cannot stay hidden forever. Others will come, they will sense it, they will want it. Mark's stomach twisted. Others? The crystal darkened for a moment, then glowed faintly again. Aliens who built it, hunters who seek it, even humans who crave it, all will come. And when they do, you must decide if you fight or if you yield. Mark's pulse raced, he realized. His battle had only just begun. He looked down at the apron still in his hands, the only reminder of her old life. He gripped it tightly. Then let them come. I'll fight them. I'll protect this ship. I'll protect you. Her voice softened, almost like a sigh of relief. You already have, Mark. You saved me when you refused to let me die. You saved the crew when you bonded. With the core, you saved yourself by choosing to stand. You are human, and that is why the core listens to you. Mark felt the weight of her words, but also the weight of his new burden. He was no longer just an engineer. He was the master of something alive, something ancient, something dangerous. The chamber settled into calm silence. The crystal glowed steadily, pulsing with two rhythms, his and hers. Mark whispered to himself, his voice low but firm. This isn't the end. This is only the beginning. The light from the core spread across the chamber, casting long shadows on the walls. In those shadows, Mark thought he saw shapes, moving faint outlines of alien forms waiting, watching. He tightened his grip on the apron, his eyes hard, his heart steady. The maid's voice echoed once more, softer now. Next time I return, it may not be as your servant. It may be as something greater. Be ready, Mark, for the universe will not ignore us now. The crystal pulsed, bright one final time, and Mark felt the truth settle deep in his bones. He was no longer just a man keeping engines alive. He was the keeper of a secret that could decide the fate of humanity. And the universe was already listening.